Sunday, August 24th, 2:23 a.m. 50 seconds on the second hand. The ties are what win me over on this NBA live betting concept. And it doesn't take an MBA to figure that one out. Because when you go through, and I finished doing the numbers for the first half, when the NBA teams are playing in every game, there's going to be a team that scores 50 points first in the first half almost every time. Probably 1 or 2% of the times there won't be somebody who scores 50 points first. But when you're using a sports book, I recommend using ESPN Bet because they allow that option if you go to the app, you can actually download it if you're not in a legal state, and you can look and use the app and just go to the live betting section, and you don't even need an account on some of these apps, on some of these sports books, but they have BetMGM, FanDuel, all these other ones. I don't think FanDuel changes the amount to win. They have a section where you can type the amount you want to risk, and there's another section, the amount you want to win, and the amount you want to win should be the same for this live betting concept. That's the most important thing. The amount you want to win, 1.00 unit, is the same every time. Some of these sports books do not have a live betting section where you can enter the amount you want to win, just the amount that you can risk. And when the live odds are changing, the live odds you're risking are changing, so the amount, when you can't put the amount you want to win as a set amount and you don't care what you're risking, because this is how this concept works, ideally, you can always change it to the risk method as previously mentioned, and just change your unit amount. But when you're typing in to win 1 unit, that would be you would want to use a sports book that allows you that option, because some sports books do not allow that option. They actually believe it or not, they some sports books like FanDuel will actually change. They have a second section where you can enter the amount that you want to win, which is 1.00 units, but it changes when the live odds are changing. So it'll change your 1.00 unit to like 1.1 unit or 0.9. Even when the live odds are changing, that shouldn't change the amount you're winning. It should just stay at 1 unit, whatever that is, $10, $20, $50, $60, whatever, $1 million. But when you're using FanDuel, I noticed it actually changes it slightly when the live odds are changing. It changes the amount you're winning, which is not ideal. ESPN Bet did not do this to my studies, but I'd have to. I want to wait till the NBA season, obviously, to do this, to do any of this on the first half or the full game, because the 80, 90, and 100 points are for the full game. The first half 50 point, it would be betting on the team who scores 50 points first in the first half to win the first half money line, which all these online sports books that have online platforms and apps allow you to do this. And that would be, but the thing is, BetMGM doesn't offer you that option of a section. Excuse me, a second section where there's the win to win section. BetMGM does not have that, and there's a couple other sportsbook that don't even offer that option. They just allow you to use the to risk option, which is not ideal when you are typing in the same amount, which would be 1 unit to win every time, because it's changing the amount that you're risking, which it's also doing that for when you're typing in your 1 unit to win, but it doesn't matter because the 1 unit is staying the same to win. When you go to use the ESPN Bet Sportsbook or another sportsbook, if there is another one, I'll try to find one that has a live betting layout that is really simplistic and pretty clean and not trying to take advantage of you or me or anybody. Because when you're a sports book, you gotta, when you think about it, if you're a sports book, why would you be doing that kind of stuff? Like taking advantage of people by doing that kind of stuff, like not offering that second option to win when doing live betting, or changing the amount while the odds are changing like FanDuel does. Why would you do that? It's just going to deter people from wanting to use your sports book. And even if they're using this live betting method, which if you are in the future, trust me, it's clearly the most profitable long-term consistently, aside from the NBA series betting. That's just a lock. That is a lock. But aside from that, this seems to be, from my personal experience and research. But the thing about when you're betting on a team to win the first half money line, they just need to win the first half, which means after the second quarter ends, they just need to be winning after the second quarter ends. I'm not doing separate quarters for this, okay? So if you want to do that, you can go do that on your own. I'm not going to be doing any research at the moment in terms of first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, in terms of doing those money line betting concepts, because this is just for the first half and the previously mentioned 80, 90, and 100 point full game live betting concepts. I just want to reiterate that a few times just in case there's any confusion, excuse me. But no, this first half 50.1 is actually probably more out of the 80, 90, and 100, and this is just like just a baseline number, because I just picked those numbers, obviously, but I did 100 first because of obviously the thing that everybody, all my coworkers, the numbers that they saw as well, the NBA teams in the playoff to score 100 points first, their records in the playoffs when doing so. Yeah, but I started after doing 100, I did 90, and then I did 80, and then I noticed I started doing um, I started doing 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, and then I just stopped doing them because I noticed the 50 first half for sure. And in regards to in regards to um Jesus. In regards to the because a few of the 100 games they'd actually be not playable because the lead would have been so big, or and there wouldn't have been as much time left. Probably maybe 50 at the give or take. I mentioned that previously as well. But all the all the um all the profit from the games that went more than that would probably, I didn't finish doing the numbers, but would probably even no, I'm not even out. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Um, like a lot of the games, you would be making a few units back on a couple of the comebacks, but for the most part, it won't really be an issue. When I was doing really what I wanted to talk about mostly would be the 50-point concept because of the ties. When you're betting on a team to an NBA team to win the first half money line, and this we're not doing the spread, we're not doing the totals, and we're not doing any other sports ever, any of this kind of stuff. It's just this sport. What's really interesting about, you got to look at the mindset of these teams and these games, and you got to realize that if a team is down by like whatever it is, and the other team scores 50 points first, the mindset of the team that's losing is we do not have to, they're not a single one of them is thinking we need to have winning a higher score than the other team by the end of the second quarter. None of them are thinking we need to be winning by halftime. But the winning team or the losing team, obviously the objective is to score as many points and to win and come back. But when you're looking at it in terms of that perspective, that's what halftime is. I mean, seriously, some of these guys are really bad at their jobs and they're really lazy sometimes, but that's the kind of stuff that creeps into the mind when there's a minute left and some of these teams are down by 6 points. It's really fascinating when you think about it. They're not dying to be winning at the end of the second quarter. So when the team scores 50 points first, the I mean, the amount of games that also ended in where the game was tied at halftime. So when you're betting on a team to win the first half money line, not the full game money line, you would wait until 80, 90, or 100 points to bet the full game money line. But for the first half money line, when they hit 50, a lot of the probably half as many losses. I'd have to check the numbers here real quick. Half as many losses are ties. So that means neither team wins the money line in the first half. So neither bet wins. So if you were to bet the other team to hit, or if you were to bet the other team to win the first half money line and they came back and tied it, that would be a push. That would be a tie. So you'd actually get your units back, your money back on that, which doesn't happen at the end of the games either. So those two factors play a major role in terms of this probably being more important than the full game money line, and more consistent long term. It's pretty crazy. And if you're listening to this podcast and this episode, you should really share this with any and everybody that you can, because honestly, that kind of betting information is actually the fact that, because if you don't believe me, go through and look at every game, like I did, and look, like, just scroll through the Cleveland Cavaliers and see, all right, against non-playoff teams, who scored 50 points first. They had one loss in the first half of the season, I believe. But and you just scroll through and then you go to the next non-playoff team and you just rack them all up. And if you don't believe me, go through and see. You'll see the Cavaliers, they score 50 points first. They're up by this amount with this amount of time left. And you just, if you do that for every single game, you really, I'm not joking, you learn more than you can really. It's just as crucial as watching film, I believe. Those two things are just, I mean, because you can watch all the film in the world and you can be the most closed-minded person of all time, like some of my previous coworkers and some of the people on X that I know. And just take a minute to think about what I mean by that. The most closed-minded person of all time, like the people on Sportsline and CBS Sports HQ. And yeah, like, think about what I mean by, oh shit. Think about what I mean by what it means to be the most closed-minded person of all time. Just going through the motions, just hustling, grinding, the daily grind, the daily hustle and bustle. Not even allowing yourself to even go there. Just keep on watching. Get up, talk for the people who want me to talk, the sports books. Yeah, you have a really transparent Discord, dude. Sports books love people with Discord, so they love them. Everybody's talking about sports betting all day. It's really conducive to a healthy and productive daily lifestyle. But when you're looking at, I mean, I'm serious, go through and look at the 50 point. And I was going to run some of the, like, this would be for the first half, you could probably even do 55, 60, 65. You could do 5-point increments as well. I'm not going to run the numbers yet, but obviously I would, and I'm probably going to do that when in the upcoming season. But I'm kind of just wondering what your thoughts are on if you should share the podcast or not with everybody that you know, or if you should move. I'd probably recommend moving or legalizing this just for this solely, just for this fact alone. Um, it's I truly, because you can't, the sports books cannot value um these leads in the NBA like they are the other sports, because there's not as much, because there's way more scoring in the NBA. So many, I mean, if a team is down by 12 in the first half with 45 seconds left, they could technically come back. So if the other team scores 50 points first and there's 45 seconds left and they're up by 12, the other team still could technically come back. They could get a turnover on the inbounds and get a 3-pointer, or get fouled and actually miss the free throw, and then their guy could dunk it, and then he could go to the free throw line, and that's, you know what I'm saying? So they can score enough points. So that means the sportsbooks cannot shut down these live money lines, even if the lead is 15 with 30 seconds. I mean, I'm not even joking. And with the abysmal defense, go watch it, folks. I'm not going to talk about it because a certain team really knows what they're doing if they really get their head on the straight and narrow, essentially. But it's pretty abysmal when you realize that they can't shut down these specifically in the first half, because the leads aren't big enough. Not enough time has passed. So even if the lead, when they hit 50 points, that's when you just pull the trigger on these, because the biggest lead I saw was, I think it was 32 when the one team hit 50. So I think it was 50 to 18 or something, maybe. So that was the biggest lead, and it was in the second quarter, or at the very end of the first quarter. When I was a little kid, there used to be 25 points per team per quarter. It'd be 100 per team by the end of the game usually. 110 was like teams that were lighting it up offensively. Now I'm just gonna call it balling. People are balling out there, man. I don't really want to talk about. If you want to know what I'm talking about, then you can email me if you want. But that's what's really crazy about this first half live betting concept, is that the ties can happen, and the team that's losing is not dying to win the first half. And once the team hits 50 points first, there's only so much time and so many possessions left, or the lead is so big. But if the lead is bigger, you're risking more to win one unit. But that just means you're more likely to win, and you're either more likely to win, and or there's less time remaining because the lead is bigger. And if the lead is not bigger, you're just risking less to win the same 1.00 unit. So either way, the figures and the documents listed below show all you need to see. That I didn't do every single specific game individually, but I did each team. And if you want to go through each game, you can kind of see But it's hard for me to judge because I have never really sat there and watched the first half money line odds on when these games are happening, not yet at least. But I it's not that hard to judge. I mean, I kind of have watched a few of them. I've seen a few of them. But when a team is up by, yeah, it's usually it's about 1 point to reflect, yeah. Anyways, um, yeah, I just find it extremely, extremely telling that, and I know what you're probably thinking. Oh, what about ties, huh? Ties. There's a there's not that many goals scored in the NHL. There's probably a lot of ties at the end of the first period, right? Probably. That's probably very true. Uh, that's probably the most true thing of all time. But when it comes to the NHL, I haven't ran those figures for those periods yet or anything like that either. But I I haven't ran the figures or anything yet, but and I don't even know if I will because I don't recommend any other sports or leagues at the time being, just this one. And I know for a fact that they are valuing the other sports league, like the NFL, the NHL, the MLB leads, um, more. They're valuing them higher and more value in terms of units and juice more than than. But there's only so many possessions in the NFL, so when you have the ball and you're running out the clock, you can run out a lot of time if you when you have the lead. So in that regards, a 10-point lead with a certain amount of time left is pretty telling and commanding, one would imagine. But um, turnover can happen, a pick six, and definitely don't ever do that in the preseason. But I wouldn't do that ever. I wouldn't do the NFL. I wouldn't do any of it because of the amount of points scored, the amount of the amount of different leads that you see in these first half. I mean, the first half is really crazy. The fact that you got to think about it, the team when you're down by like 12, 15, 20 in the first half, even 5, and there's however much time left, you're not sitting there, but there's 2 minutes left. You're not sitting there dying to win the first half. But when you score, the other team gets the ball and they get the ball for however many seconds, and then the other team gets the ball, and then it's back and forth. Hockey, it's not really a team can dominate the offensive zone for 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Even if they're not on the power play. If they're on the power play, they can dominate for a lot. They can all types of scenarios can happen, but it's so back and forth in the NBA in terms of possessing the object that is the scoring object in the game, the ball, the puck. And when you're on an ice, there's a lot of shorthanded goals that happen as well. Can you imagine betting on a team to win the money line in the NHL, the full game, after when they have the lead at the second intermission and they give up a shorthanded goal? All of the scenarios are not good. I'm kind of watching Bar Rescue still. kind of watching Bar Rescue still, just kind of finishing up the figures, going over them. Um, all right. Oh yeah. Some of these games might have been closed down because they, like I said, some of them might have been closed down because there just wasn't enough time left when the one team hit 50 points and the lead was too big. So that happened a few times. And instead of doing instead of doing the numbers for the teams that scored 60 points first in the first half as well, and doing those numbers, I figured that it would just even out essentially. For the few that went over, it would probably even out with the 60. The few that went 60. But 55 is a completely different story. But I'm not going to do those numbers yet either. Let's see here. So before January 1st, there were 20 ties, 36 losses, 397 wins, plus 293.90 units. Yeah, so those 20 ties, that's anywhere from 20 units to it could be 100 units that theoretically not and in the future that we'd be getting back due to a push, due to the game, due to the first half ending in a tie. So neither team winning at the end of the first half results in a tie, which means neither bet wins on the money line for the first half, which means it's a push. If it ties, you get your money back. I believe that's how that works. Yeah. I'm trying to imagine because I haven't done it personally. Obviously, I haven't done any of these. This is just me running the numbers after watching those playoff games. But that's how that would work. Yeah. Just like not just like that. Not like if there's 6 goals scored and there's a push due to the total being 6, which is never going to happen on this podcast again ever. That was 20 ties in the first before January 1st. After December 31st, 2024, there was 29 ties, 60 losses, and 631 wins, plus 394.70 units. Wow, so 6. Yeah. Yeah, so if you do this, the 50-point first half live betting concept, and then you do the 80. I mean, even if after seeing this 50-point first half one, you're probably going to not even want to do the 80 unless it's a low scoring game. But when you look at the fact that you can tie and there's no halftime yet, so they're not in there in the locker room watching film from the first half, and they're not assessing what they can do to try to change the outcome of the second half, try to make some adjustments, get a breather, shoot some steroids, then it's really kind of imperative to realize that they're not really watching film on the bench, and there's only a few starters. They're not watching film while they're out there playing. I mean, they're watching the replay really quickly, but anyways, I was listening to a few of my family members a while ago. I know, shocking, but they were just a bunch of women yapping on about how just a bunch of women yapping on about how all these car crashes happening everywhere are all due to Somalians. And I spent a lot of time on the road in my life, and um, I've met a lot of bad drivers in my time as well, and none of them were black, but all of them were women. I can guarantee you that. That's my experience. No, one of them was a black woman. No, it was black outside. It was dark outside, and I was damn near blacked out. But yeah, take a look at the numbers, and yeah, toodaloo.